Okay.
Yo, hey guys.
Yo, what's up?
Where are you, Jordan? You sound like you're next to a freeway or something.
You're in a tunnel.
Yeah, I'm the correspondent on the field. Yeah.
Sick. Well, we should probably introduce our homie Nick, because we haven't introduced Nick yet, and Nick is the man. I guess I
Yeah.
guess we've known Nick a couple years now. I guess time really does fly, but
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. Time does fly.
Yeah, dude, let me I'm about to get off the road and we'll do like a proper intro and stuff.
sick.
Welcome back, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The Synaxis Podcast has returned from its slumber. I'm Jordan,
And I'm Josh.
and today we have a very special guest. His name's Nick, new member of Synaxis Podcast. Should we talk about like how you ended up in our circle? How'd you get here?
Well, yeah, I met Josh and Jordan at church a couple years ago. It was the first Orthodox church that I actually went to, which is pretty crazy. And I had been listening to their podcast, which is pretty nuts to me.
How did you find you found the church online, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
what got you interested in Orthodoxy? It's kind of a niche thing in America.
Yeah, why were you even looking up Orthodox churches? What's wrong with you?
a lot. Well, I started reading about it a long time ago. Like, I'm trying to remember now. I think it was like 13 years ago I started reading about it. I read Nihilism. That was the big book for me at first. Yeah,
I didn't realize it started out that long ago.
Yeah. I was in my early 20s. I got like a weird ebook pack. Like, I downloaded it offline and it was like, Reject Modernity. And it was like, they had a couple Seraphim Rose books and I was like, who is this? And I like looked up at his pictures, and it's like,
Oh,
I thought he was Russian. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. But it says California. And I was so confused by the whole thing. And then I read Nihilism and I was like a doomer. So I read that book and everything felt wrong, And so then I read that book and it was kind of like why everything feels wrong. I was like, whoa, this guy is head. Yeah.
And you come from a non-Christian background?
Kind of. My dad was baptized Greek Orthodox, but he kind of grew up in the Protestant church, and he was kind of like an AA guy. He's always been super into the Bible, so I always heard about the Bible growing up. And then I went to Lutheran school till fourth grade, and that was a lot of, going to the chapel, singing, seeing services, and things like that. But I was always interested in it. Like, I was reading a lot of Catholic stuff at the time too. I remember reading Meister Eckhart a lot. I was super into.
oh yeah. He's
So
what are they? His title's like the man from whom God hid nothing or something like that. He was like a German mystic, but he wasn't. He was condemned as a heretic, I think.
yeah. His writings are super interesting.
I want to rewind it a little bit.
Mhm.
Father Seraphim's book, you had this sense that everything was wrong. What did you mean by that?
I always just had a strong distaste for modernity, but it felt like you can't escape it,
Yeah.
that it's just impossible to escape. And so you're kind of just living in this, you feel enslaved, And I felt like nihilism was, okay, this is why you feel this way. You are supposed to feel this way. If you're not feeling this way, there's probably something really wrong. What's weird is like, I couldn't put words, I could just feel it. Right. So like, I couldn't really put words to why something was off. He's much more brilliant
Yeah.
than I am. So he was able to actually like understand everything historically and culturally. And it was just crazy to me that he was coming at it from, he wasn't a Catholic. He wasn't a New Age guy. And he was attacking everything. He's so confrontational in some of those books.
And by he, you mean Father Seraphim Rose?
Yeah,
right?
Father Seraphim.
No, we're still talking about his book Nihilism.
Yeah.
Which maybe we can summarize that for somebody if there's a listener that doesn't know exactly what he's doing in that. The sort of historical breakdown, the philosophical lineage he draws from. He starts pretty far back, but he just kind of like traces the sort of like moral rot of society from at least World War II. I think he starts earlier than that even. I sometimes I mix it up with his survival course. But
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he even starts it from the schism because I think he talks about the Renaissance.
yeah, he starts at the schism and shows pretty much just how humanity falls away from Christianity over time. It's basically the great apostasy,
Yeah,
but he spells it out by analyzing all the different philosophical movements at the time and how they intertwine with each other.
I guess that's how things go from like a passive skepticism to a more kind of like active, destructive model as like nihilism unfolds through society.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like a gradual like falling away from the truth or any concern for what is true.
yeah. It's pretty polemical, but yeah, I liked how he talked about modern art and all these things that I had never heard before from Orthodox perspective was completely new to me. I didn't even know there was an Orthodox perspective, so I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I had a similar experience reading Father Seraphim, and I was an angsty teenage kid. I had no experience of this kind of Christianity. It was something I didn't know I was thirsting for, because all I'd really seen is like rock band Protestantism up until then. But reading Father Seraphim, he's pretty punk rock, but it also just rings so deeply true.
Yeah.
Like it's a bitter pill. It's not a black pill though. It's a bitter pill with like hope at the end.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, there's this option because I was also super into Thomas Merton at the time. So this was an option that I didn't know existed. But I was so like steeped in bad stuff, bad behavior. I lived really close to the cathedral on Geary, St. John's Cathedral. What's it called? Yeah, Holy Virgin. Yeah. And
I didn't realize you had lived in the city.
Yeah, I lived in the city for like 7 years.
And I don't know if some people might know you because you do have some presence online, right? I don't know how many people have seen your interviews with Paul Vanderklim.
I mean, there might be a few people out there that might know those interviews. I highly doubt it, but because I did a couple of rando interviews with Paul Vanderklay. He's a pastor online. He's a Calvinist pastor. He talks a lot about Jordan Peterson, and he's friends with John Vervaeke and Jonathan Peugeot, and
I actually like Paul Vanderklay a lot.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And you were just on with him recently, right?
Yeah, I just did a podcast with him. It wasn't the most exciting podcast, honestly.
I'd seen the other ones you've done. I'd seen the other two that you had on the channel, and they were really good. Vanderklay is awesome. You're awesome. Like, they're enjoyable talks to listen to.
Yeah, it was more of just like he was just kind of like, it was just a status update more than anything. I was just like, I'm good. I'm way better than I was. Like, the last two conversations were really like depressing and hard and bad stuff going on in my life. And now it's all these years later, and I found the Orthodox Church, and the Orthodox Church is the best, and everybody should go to the Orthodox Church. Which you might have been as a Calvinist, just being like, I don't really want you to use my channel as like,
yeah. I'll just paywall this one real quick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you want to get into the dark stuff that you intimated about?
So like 9 years ago, I got cancer. I got it really bad. I had stage 4 lymphoma. It went really poorly. I'm cured now, thank God. But that completely changed my life every single way. I had been completely healthy up until then. And chemo just went really poorly, and I really didn't have any, I've always believed in God, and I've never had a problem with atheism or anything like that, but now I was being confronted with like really serious questions. And so it got very bad, and it was almost fatal a couple times. And then I was repeatedly hospitalized many times. I think I like counted like 9 times. And one of those times I had a seizure really bad after chemo, and it was near fatal. And I saw I saw things that were supernatural. I saw angels and demons, and maybe like in another episode will talk like more in depth because it's kind of weird to like I can't really elevator pitch it too much, but I saw things that were clearly very real, and they weren't psychological in that sense. They were interacting. I always try to make people understand this. The things that I saw were interacting with the physical reality of the room that I was in, which I noticed like right away that they weren't separate. Like it wasn't like I was in a different dimension. They were actually interacting with the physical things in the room. And after that, I was super sick for many years and basically couldn't go outside for a really long time. And I was so freaked out by what I'd experienced that I was like, okay, I have to figure out. I have a set of problems now because I can't seem to justify why I should keep living. And I was dealing with a lot of really serious PTSD. Like I had to have my friends and my family tell me who I was, like repeatedly. I would have Sally like tell me, that's my wife. I would have my wife tell me like tell me stories about when me and my best friend in high school like what we did together. And she would like be like, "Well, you guys used to do this and you guys used to do this stupid thing and you guys used to go here." And I would like feel it coming back, like who I was, because I couldn't remember who I was. I was like leaving me. So there was all these weird, super serious PTSD stuff I was going through. And then at the same time, I was horrified because I just thought I was like going to die at any moment. And I couldn't figure out philosophically. Like I used to go to Whole Foods or a coffee shop and I would sit there and be like, I can't figure out why anybody feels safe right now. And everybody would be like, what do you, I used to go with my friend. We'd eat at a restaurant and be like, why does everyone feel safe right now? It's like, and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, everybody's just ordering. Everyone's just acting like everything's fine. But any moment we could just die. And I was like, so I felt at any moment I was just going to be like, couldn't find a reason why that wasn't true. So then I was like, started
Wow.
digging super hard. I was like, I have to figure this out or I'm going to like probably not live for very long. So I had to like figure out the problem of evil was super big for me because I saw a lot of bad stuff in the cancer ward, a lot of like little kids and young people suffering, and it was just so brutal. And I had to figure out how is this okay? If God exists, like, how can he allow this? So I started reading the Bible and I started reading like all types of Christian stuff. I was reading Calvin. I was reading all types of stuff, like anything I could really find. And then I remembered the Orthodox Church and I was like, oh yeah. Remember Seraphim Rose? And I was reading like the Orthodox Church by Timothy Ware, the old version.
Oh, Bishop Callistos, yeah.
Yeah, Bishop. Yeah, and so then I was like, I gotta go to an Orthodox church. And then I couldn't because I couldn't get in the car because it could make me have a seizure. So I would get sick every time I got in the car. So it became this thing where I would like endlessly talk about it for like years. I was like, I gotta go to a liturgy. I just want to experience a liturgy. Like, and finally I just kind of gave up on it. I just like what I was like, it's never gonna happen. My life is just not destined for that, I guess. And then whenever I would talk to anyone, like I talked to a priest online one time, an Orthodox priest, and I was like, what should I do? And he was like, just pray. And I was like, that's it? Like, and at that time, like his advice was totally made sense actually, but like at the time I was like, but there has to be a way to get around this. Like, and he was like, no, you just need to pray and like you will enter the church at some point. And I was like so let down by that. I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is never gonna happen. So I just gave up. And I was like, whatever. And I was telling Paul this that like I kind of came to this realization that if I was destined to go to hell, which was a serious concern, because I kind of felt that it was a real possibility when I almost died, like that chances are I could there was a definitely high chance that I was going to hell. And those are why those things that I saw came. So I started I had this weird view where I was like, well, if I go to hell, I that's okay, and I'm just going to affirm that God is good and that he's just, and so that I deserve that. And so that's all I can do. So if I go to hell, I'll just be in hell and be like, I respect that, God. Like, you're just, you're good. This was the right decision. Like, basically, I'll love God in hell.
Wow.
So then, uh, I had a baby recently, and we had a baby shower, and I got super sick, and I kind of came away from it. I was like, I can't wait anymore. I have to just go for it. Like, I don't care if I get sick anymore. Like, if I get super sick or I have a seizure, I'm hospitalized, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. This is worth going towards. So that's the first time I met you guys, was one of the first times that I had been out by myself, like without Sally watching me, like making sure like nothing would happen to me. That was like the farthest I had driven in like by myself, like 10 years, something.
And
Like
That's
wasn't it
amazing.
like somewhat synchronistic or providential that you ended up at our church anyways? Because you were going to go to another one, right?
Yeah, I was going to go to a Greek Orthodox church because my dad was all excited. He was like, oh, because he hasn't been to a Greek Orthodox church in probably 40 years or something. And so I stayed at a hotel because we were so afraid. We were like, well, what if you get sick? And at least you'll have a hotel to stay at. And then, like, my wife can come drive down and, pick me up and save me or whatever. We were trying to figure out the logistics. And so I looked up bookshops and then I went to Not of This World Icons and Books. And I was so shocked by that bookstore. I like walked in and I was like, this can't be
Shout
real.
out to Daniel,
Yeah.
Not of This World,
Yeah.
Books and Icons, Santa Rosa, California. This podcast is brought to you by Not of This World, Books and Icons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel's the man.
If you need any icons or spiritual books or prayer ropes, Orthodox word issues which are discontinued, Daniel's store is a treasure trove of Orthodox wisdom and consoling literature and religious art, and you should buy from him. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, Nick.
No, that's very important. That's very important. So I went there and I hit it off with Daniel, and I was like, yeah, like I was like a Martian. I was like, I haven't really like been outside by myself, and I can't believe this bookstore exists. And so we were talking about all the stuff that happened with me, and he was telling me about his family and his background, and I was just totally amazed by that bookstore. And he was like, I go to this little Bulgarian Orthodox church, like you should come. And I was like, that's weird. Bulgarian, like I don't know anything about that. I just know that like I have Greek blood and like so I figured I would just go to the Greek church. And he was like, yeah, you should come to the Bulgarian church. So the next morning I was supposed to go and I get a call from my dad and he's like, your stepmom has had a really bad accident. She's in the emergency hospital. I can't go. So I was like, wow, okay. So she ended up being fine. And I was like, so I went online and then the Bulgarian church came up and I was like, huh, I should just go where he told me to go. So then I went. It was amazing. It was crazy. And then I met you guys after. And then we started talking about Seraphim Rose like immediately. And I was like, okay. I was like, this is amazing. Like people talking about Seraphim Rose. This is exciting. And then I think I sat down with you guys, and you guys were talking about that movie review you did.
Where are you at in the documentary, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
About Mount Athos.
yeah. And you guys were like, "Yeah, we have a
I
podcast."
remember that.
Yeah, and I was like, "That's impossible," because I just listened to two guys talk about that 3 days ago on YouTube. This can't be the same people. That's just impossible. And I remember it didn't have a lot of views. So I was like, there's no way. Like, yeah. And so, yeah, that's how I met Josh and Jordan. And yeah. And now yeah,
Now you're a catechumen, baby.
yeah.
That's the second time I've heard that story, and it feels more real this time because, well, I can't explain why, but I didn't actually realize that when you had shown up at church, because you drive how many hours to get there?
2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back.
I didn't realize that you were like daring a seizure, every time you drove out.
Well, that's the thing is I'm not risking a seizure anymore because the church has been healing me, and and all my symptoms as I've gone to church over the course of 2 years have lessened and lessened to the point where I'm not even afraid of it anymore. So yeah,
Wow.
which by the way, the priests are not surprised about at all, which I love. They're all like,
oh yeah.
yeah, they were like, they were like, oh yeah, it's Saint John. Saint John's healing you. I mean, they were so matter of fact about it.
That's real. That's real, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not even surprised anymore. Because St. John has worked miracles palpably in so many people's lives, especially in our community, for sure. So, yeah, you're right. Why would they be surprised? They're like, yeah, St. John's with us, dude. He helps people out. And that's the kind of thing I'm sure that helped draw you to the conclusion that this is the place they got to be. That's so miraculous. Like I love hearing stories like that. And it's hilarious to hear that it's almost like taken for granted by people who are close to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I didn't realize it was 2.5 hours for you to get to church. Dude, that's a far drive.
It's so far, dude. It's like, and it's not straight. It's like the craziest cliff. It's cliffs everywhere. It's super dangerous, dude. Like every time I'm like, I hope I don't die going to church, like, but it's totally worth it. There's no church up here, and I can't even imagine going to, like, there's a bunch of Protestant churches. Like, do you know Calvary Chapel?
Yeah, for sure. It's a pretty big Protestant church.
Yeah, is that like, I don't know. I've heard that it's like slightly charismatic or like.
Yeah, it's some mix. I mean, maybe I don't want to misrepresent it. I know my mom went there for a long time. I think it's close to charismatic, maybe close to Pentecostal, kind of. Maybe less speaking in tongues, but there's definitely some like weird Protestant stuff going on.
Yeah, like a lot of people up here will go to that church and stuff. And like now, after understanding more about Orthodoxy and experiencing Orthodoxy, it's like I can't even imagine going to something like that. Like,
is that the mega church? Is that like the huge one? Almost like the stadium with like the Starbucks in it or whatever? Or is that a different one?
I don't know if I would. The one here is definitely not like that. But they have them everywhere.
Yeah, they're all over the place. I don't think that's the one you're thinking of, Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mix them up all the time. It's been a long time since I've been in one of those places.
Yeah, on Paul's podcast, I was just like, the liturgy. Like, Orthodox liturgy is where it's at. It's just, yeah. Like Protestant liturgical worship is like, I even did some research the other day. I was like, I want to know about how Protestants like engage in liturgical worship, and it was just fascinating. Like I went to Presbyterian Live like liturgies and stuff, and it was just, I was like, this is just not work.
It's just not it, dude.
It's just not it. Yeah.
And not to cast aspersion on people who get into Protestant churches like that, who maybe are like unaware of Orthodoxy, because it's pretty common that someone will be going through a hard time in their life and they're in the modern nihilism and the chaos of just the modern world, and they're reaching for something deeper and spiritual. And sometimes a shallow kind of knockoff of something deeper is better than being lost in the world. So I get why people get into stuff like that, and I try not to like, I'm not 20 anymore. I don't dunk on random Protestants, but I get it.
Yeah. No, it's like even parts of the stuff that I watched, it was interesting because like they have certain litanies and stuff that are like, they're really great. Like they're praying for everyone. They're very close to what we see in the Orthodox Church, but I don't know. I can't imagine that, at least from my experience, I didn't know that the liturgy was this place of just like grace is just flying out. Like I didn't understand that before I went. Like I thought I was going to like see incense and icons and all this stuff. And I was just going to be like, wow, this is crazy. It's beautiful. But I didn't understand that it was going to be this thing that I can't understand at all, that affects me deeply. and is healing, I think, really healing to the soul and body without, you don't have to understand it
Yeah,
intellectually.
there's clearly a non-intellectual aspect of it that's like deep and archetypal and symbolic, and like you can be a really simple person and not be intellectual and not educated or well studied and get the wholesomeness and like the healing from the liturgy.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of like the experiences I've had on psychedelics, and I mean weird things you'll hear in the liturgy, like you'll even see them. Like you're like, wait, what? For a few seconds you'll be like, oh, I get the, or you get a feeling in there. Like I was telling Paul in that interview, I was like, sometimes I get the feeling when I'm in liturgy, like I'll hear the censer going and I get this like weird, eerie, not eerie, eerie is kind of the wrong word, but it is kind of eerie. It's like, oh, you've heard this sound before and you'll hear it again, but like not now. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like it's like it's some eternal clanging of the censer. It's super.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like a foreshadowing of something you recognize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. It's
Yeah.
so cool to hear you describe it like that, because it's so easy to take it for granted, like our humble little parish, and everybody, singing the liturgy, but it's this ancient mystery that's been celebrated for thousands of years, like, and it's bottomless. And every
Yeah.
time you go, there aren't any words to describe it. We were reading a hymn. I remember this Sunday. We were reading. You and I sat next to each other. We were reading this hymn. I showed it to you. It was about how like the Theotokos is beyond understanding and like beyond reason and beyond words. But it was like so beautifully worded about how words can't even describe how beautiful it is. Like it was like this meta thing.
Yeah. The Vespers on Sunday, the kneeling Vespers. I'm sure Jordan, you've been there for that before.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The prayers in that were just unbelievable. It's like, man, it's just incredible. The services are just amazing. But yeah, it's getting these weird I don't know, like yeah, it's foreshadowing. I think Josh is right. It's like a foreshadowing of eternity. It's like, when the cherubic hymn is playing and the deacons are walking around, it's just like the angels are flying around the throne and we're getting a glimpse of this eternal communion with God. That's just like I just hope that we get to partake in, you know what I mean? But at least even if we don't get to partake in it later, that we get to partake in it right now, which is just such a gift, right? Because
Totally.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable we get to even do it on Earth. I mean, it's just, I mean,
And hey, even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table. So
yes.
there's hope for us. Anyway, where were we? Well, now we have Nick. We've brought Nick. He is a kindred spirit. We met him that day, not knowing any of this, really. I had no idea until now. I knew bits and pieces, but I didn't realize until now, like, the gravity of your journey and what brought you to where we live.
Jordan, you're cutting out just a tiny bit.
Oh, you lost me? Am I back?
Yeah.
You sound more clear now, but yeah, you were in a tunnel for a minute. That's what it sounded like.
Well, I don't know what the last thing I said was, but the point being, welcome, Nick, to the Synaxis Podcast. You're a kindred spirit. We knew when we met you that you were, and it's really cool to really hear your story, because I heard bits and pieces, but I hadn't heard it spelled out quite this way before.
And if you guys ever get a chance, do check out the Paul Vanderklay videos, like the longer, in-depth version of Nick's stories, because they're really good. Like, I got to know Nick because when he came to church, I gave him my number and we started sending videos back and forth. I would just like skateboard by my house and I would send videos every night. So I kind of like slowly picked his story up. But the Vanderklay videos are like really well done and they're enjoyable to listen to. Nick's a sick guy, so I'm sure you guys would all enjoy it.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, maybe we can, I can find the links and we can put them up.
Yeah, that would be awesome for a minute.
There is a black helicopter on top of me right now, you guys. Can you hear it?
yeah, we can hear it. Get back in the tunnel. Get back in the tunnel.
Yeah. He doesn't see me. I'm under the trees. I just had a Nazgul moment there. I'm still kind of blown away by the story you said earlier about how you had just listened to our podcast somehow,
Yeah.
and then you met us. It's so crazy, man. It's so good to have you, dude. I'm so glad that you're here with us. I just gotta say.
I appreciate that. I'm very glad to be here and talk with you guys. And you guys have been so helpful. Every little thing in the Orthodox Church, it's like I feel like you guys have taught me so much. Like that's been just so great for me. Like the most simple things, it's like, oh, how do you venerate icons? It's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's like go up and venerate icons, you know?
The Orthodox Church can be pretty overwhelming to come into, especially from, I mean, even if you're a Protestant or, versed in the biblical stories, like the Orthodox Church is still an experience to go to. And it's very different. And it's not like many other things you're going to experience, especially if you're from America.
Yeah. 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 And it's so experiential that having someone there, who's cool and it's just like, oh yeah, this is what you do, you know? Because I can imagine like being kind of alone. I don't know what you would do. Like it'd be really hard to make that jump of like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. There's so much going on.
Yeah, the first couple times I went to a liturgy was at the Rocor parish in your guys' area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Church Slavonic. So until you hit the homily, there's like no English. And I remembered being in there for the first couple times and being like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, when I went to that when I went to that church, the priest was like, he gave this homily and he was like, we all know how to fast. We all grew up Orthodox. And I'm sitting there like, well, I didn't. You know?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
It was funny.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, if you're listening right now, welcome strangers and give them bread.
Yeah.
And just don't make them feel awkward. Like, help them out. I'm socially retarded. And the church has helped me to not be such, you know what I mean? Hopefully, I feel like I did like, a decent job of making you guys feel like at home and stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
PSA, don't make people feel like they're not welcome. I really don't feel like I need to tell anybody that, but if anybody needs to hear it, there it is.
But no, it's a real thing. Some Orthodox churches really need like a welcome squad of people who are like likable and maybe outgoing or charismatic or whatever, just to kind of like help people. I feel like most Orthodox churches I've shown up to, there's always someone who's like, hey, are you Orthodox? Do you know what's going on? Like they try to help you because I feel like a lot of people, especially converts, realize how overwhelming it can be to show up to something as incredibly foreign as Orthodoxy.
Yeah, I was telling Paul that on the podcast that it's a very intimidating religion if you just sit online, because I feel like a lot of people are so steeped in the literature and they read about all the saints and they view it as this very like they almost view themselves as monastics, and then it's really scary like, oh well, I got to go up to, I was laughing with Paul. I was like, they got big beards. You think of them as these wise people and they're so beyond you. And all these people are so traditional. And I didn't grow up like that. So, and you kind of have to break down all those preconceptions. That's why I was telling Paul, I was like, I really just wanted to tell people like, go, whatever you have to do, just actually get in the door, because I feel like that's a huge disconnect with what I see on the internet. Like everybody wants to talk about it, which is awesome, but it's crazy. I don't know about fighting about like dogmatic theology on the internet versus just going to a parish.
Yeah, it's overwhelmingly, but don't get me wrong, there's a place for people to argue about like dogma and theology online, but being Orthodox is being a part of a parish and being part of like the body of Christ and being part of a community. It's not trying to dunk on Catholics online,
Yeah.
Come and see what, I don't know the verse and chapter of that, but come and see is the name of the game when it comes to Orthodox evangelism or whatever you want to call that. Because we can't do anything by our own power to convert anyone or convince anyone that Christianity is true. Because it's so weird, especially to someone who has no experience of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we can't expect anybody to be like, yo. Well, and that's when it's so like miraculous and cool to find somebody who's like, hey, this seems to explain everything that I've been going through recently. That coming across that story again and again is very awe-inspiring.
I was just going to say, and they're all fascinating and unique and powerful and worthy of.
Yeah, we have a calendar full of them. Hey.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Our apologies to anyone who missed us. I want to shout out to definitely Mano from SOS Radio.
Mano, the homie.
Stuff. Mano's the homie. He's supported us. He was like, you guys better not quit. You can't stop making stuff. We're back, Mano. Don't worry. No small thanks to you, my friend. So we're coming back. Metal Mystic's coming back.
Oh.
Nick is our friend now. And we're re-energized. It's a new era. And hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah, I think this is good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome.
All right, you guys.
All right, peace, guys. God bless.
Yeah.
God bless. Good night.